right, everybody, welcome back to the Big Blue Dynasty Series here on Madden 25. We are in the 2027 or 2026 offseason now, where the Giants fell short. We lost in the divisional round. It felt like a really tough season. Like, things just did not work out. We had one of the best records in the conference, but everything just felt like lackluster heading into that one. We didn't really hit any awards as well as far as top league leaders and stats in any record. So the previous year where we won the Super Bowl, everything fell into place. We were killing it. We were doing all the right things. But this season is something we have to work on. We have a couple different needs out there, right? And you can see that top prospects are trying to fulfill those needs. We need a center, a right end, a right guard. We're going to have to retool quite a bit of things here. And we got quite a bit of players that are up for an extension, right? And this is the part here that we have to think about, because with 57 million in cap space, you got a fifth-year option here, which is not that difficult. We have to worry about 33 million next season. But the following players that we have to think about is, do we bring back Kayvon Thibodeau? He's only 26 years old. You give him an extension, that's going to be a huge chunk of change, right? That'll leave us with about 30 million in cap space. But honestly, with someone like Kayvon Thibodeau, you probably could throw in quite a bit of money here and lean on these guys and hope that you can make it work. Kayvon Thibodeau could be a huge piece for the New York Football Giants here because of how he's played so far these last couple seasons. When you look at the stat line here for Kayvon Thibodeau, he has maintained a ridiculous stat line, right? So in 2023, he had 11.5 sacks. Once we started, he finished that year, that tough year, but he finished it with 17.5 sacks and 24 tackles for loss. In 2025, he finished the year with 12 sacks and 22 tackles for loss. But last year, he hit an additional half a sack, but he had 3 less tackle for losses. So his sacks, or his total tackles are up there, though, so he's impacting the game in other ways outside of TFLs and sacks. So we have to think about that, right? We have to think about how much is this worth? And with the extension that we have, or with the with the big contract that we have with Brian Burns, you have to go, okay, we got some other pieces here. Do we just lean on that, knowing that we do have someone like Brian Burns, right? Brian Burns is 29 years old, 3 years older than Kayvon Thibodeau, but look at his stat line since being with the Giants, right? 2024, 13.5 sacks. 2025, 15 sacks, 19 tackles for loss. Last year, 14.5 sacks. So very consistent across the board. And he had 69 tackles as well. So, we do have other players on this team for a reason. We have Nick Jackson. You got Philip Oakman. These are players that we're hoping can kind of step up. And maybe that's the thing we do. There is one or a couple players that I'm looking at in the linebacker range or defensive end range that might be able to compensate it. So maybe we let Kayvon Thibodeau go, let him find another team, maybe try to go for him in the offseason, but maybe we find like a veteran that we can kind of hold it down. And there is one veteran that I'm looking at on my board for the free agency market, and there is somebody on the that is more of a younger player that's a low OVR, but that might be able to fill in with Oakman and Jackson on the team. So running back is key here. Zach Charbonnet is asking for just a 2-year extension at 26 years old. The halfback situation is quite rough, and you got to think about with Charbonnet, as he was playing, when he was on the field, I thought he was decent, but when he was not, it hurt quite a bit. And his first year with us, he was kind of more of a backup. He had 325 yards. Last year, he had 616 yards. 4.5 yards per carry, 6 touchdowns, 33 broken tackles. But the issue is the man wasn't out there that often. I believe, look at that. So he was not there week 1, got hurt in week 2, didn't play till week 6, got hurt week 16. So for an extension here to be valid, I need bigger yards there, and I'm not seeing much for Charbonnet. So the halfback situation is up in the air as well. Bobby Okereke, I thought Okereke did well for us. Okereke, to me, can play pretty solid, and every year that he's been a Giant, he's been over 115 tackles at least. 2023, though, is where he blew up, but 2024, 118 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 1.5 sack. He then goes to 2025, 119 tackles, 24 TFLs, and 3.5 sacks. Then last year, 118 tackles, 13 TFLs, and 4 sacks. So he increased the sacks. He had a forced fumble as well. And that's the kind of stuff right there where I'm like, for 31 years old, you know, do you bring him back and you make that extension? And to me, that's not a bad player to bring back because Micah McFadden is there, and we don't really have many middle linebackers that I would like to bring in. And I think Okereke can still do his thing for at least another year or so. So that would be not a bad fill-in right there in that space. Elijah Chapman, I'm a fan of this UDFA. Coming in, I think he played well. I think my goal here is maybe to move him into defensive tackle if need be. But the D-line is young, and we had to retool it quite a bit. So he doesn't look like he wants to be here. That's another thing we have to think about. He is not motivated. The scheme fit change in this offseason is not something he likes. He likes the historic championships, but he would rather play in warm weather. So when you see something like that, you got to go, maybe we just wish him the best of luck. Jason Pinnock with Makuba as our free safety. I'm okay with moving on from him. Joseph Asai, he was there, but he didn't really play as well as I would hope. Ryan Ramczyk was the biggest bust for us. We traded him from the Saints, and it just did not go according to plan. I tried him at right tackle, tried him at right guard. He just did not play well. He got some other depth pieces here that wouldn't be that bad, like Hoyt. If we let Kayvon Thibodeau go, maybe having someone like Michael Hoyt here, would that be an okay backup there? 310 pounds, good speed on him, decent finesse. I think that's a guy right there that I'd be okay bringing back. Jared Ivey, he's another guy that I'd be cool with bringing back. He's not asking for a whole lot of money. I think you can extend him, work with him here. He's extremely interested, and I think if we let Osai go, we can probably throw in Ivy there. Hendon Hooker, I'd like to bring him back for an extension, have him play as the backup there. Moncho Johnson's looking for an extension. We'll probably let him go. Runyon's looking for one. We're going to let him go. Radunce, we're going to let these two guys go as they did not do well. Braden Daniels is the only one there that I'd kind of consider bringing back. He was a good swing tackle, did what he needed to do. Tyler Tart didn't do so well. Bozeman sucked. And Demarcus Robinson dropped completely. So he's not looking for a whole lot of cash there. I think, with him, if we can get the mentorship there for the wide receiver group, I'll try to bring him back for no guarantee. And it looks like we snagged him up there. So the players that I'm looking to bring back is probably Bobby Okereke. I think if I could bring him back for a 2-year deal, maybe drop the salary, but increase this to maybe that. So $14.5 million for a middle linebacker that we trust. Is that the right move there at 31 years old? I think with the level that we have there, you want to have some veterans that you can trust. And I'm happy we did that. So we snagged him up. As far as everybody else, the only one I would consider bringing back here is Jared Ivey. I'm not trying to give this guy a ton of money here. I mean, if he's willing to come back for $4.5 million, we'll wish him the best of luck. But he's going to head to the free agency. I just don't think that's going to work out. So with that happening there, I'd rather bring someone back like Hoyt, who's 29 years old. If he's willing to come back, I'll do this. If he's willing to come back, I'll give him a little bit extra money. And we'll go 2-year deal. Nope, he's going to leave. So you got some players here. Oh, we're going to try to work with Hendon Hooker. I think with Hendon Hooker, he's 29 years old. I think this is not a bad idea. Maybe $4.5 million. There you go. So we got him for $4.5 million a year. That's a steal for a backup QB that really works with how we play on offense there. And then the other guy I was looking at was Braden Daniels. He's a good swing tackle. I don't know if he's going to want to come back for $5.5 million, but we'll try it out. He is not. He wants to go somewhere else and potentially start. So everybody else that's on this component here, we're going to have to let go. Kayvon Thibodeau, 73 million may not seem like a lot, but to me, with some of the pieces that we need right there, I think we can fill this in with some other great guys. And the D-line's going to have to get retooled. We need to get the running back group in order there, so we might have to start looking at some other pieces. But to me, I think it's okay to move on. Now, we do have the option, too, to continue to restructure some contracts, and there's some players that I'm thinking about doing that for. So, you know, we'll play that by year and kind of see how that works out in the long haul here. But, Kayvon Thibodeau seems fine. It's just with that kind of money, I just don't see that working out. Before we kind of pick our free agents, let's just look to see what's out there, right? So as far as quarterbacks are concerned, you got Deshaun Watson and Will Levis as the main ones. Baker Mayfield's out there now. You got Sam Howell, Mac Jones, Gardner Minshew, Zach Wilson. Halfback, like I said, we are looking at halfbacks there. You got Jerome Ford, Zach Charbonnet, Chuba Hubbard, Keaton Mitchell, Kenneth Gainwell, Cam Akers, Isaac Guerendo's out there, Kendre Miller, Jaleel McLaughlin, Carson Steele, Alvin Kamara, A.J. Dillon, Chase Brown. Okay, so there's some pretty decent guys here. I didn't have any halfbacks on my list because I didn't think I wouldn't consider someone like Charbonnet, but I might have to kind of, bypass that and maybe we look for some more speed. So maybe Keaton Mitchell and Travis and Tracy Jones end up doing their thing there. In the wide receiver group, there wasn't too many wide receivers I was looking at up top, but there were some that I was interested in more around late, like the high 70s or so. But you got McCaffrey out there who looks to be well, Mark Cooper, Chenault, Dontavian Wicks. But the one player I'm looking at right now, two players that are in the 77s, is Quentin Johnston, who's only 25 years old. And I look at it like this. You have a player like that who, although he doesn't have the crazy dev trait, you sign him for a cheap contract, you might be able to bring him in and really help out the wide receiver group. The other person I was looking at was more of a vet, and he doesn't really look like he wants to play for us. At 29 years old is Darnell Mooney. Guy runs routes very well. I think he can help us out in the long haul. We are looking to ensure the number 3 spot kind of gets held up. Darnell Mooney playing in the slot there could be a good deal, and letting somebody like Malik Neighbors kind of do his thing, and Shaheed kind of play on the outside and do what they need to do there. Nothing on the tight end group. I was looking at tackles, but mainly for a backup. Tunsil's out there. He's looking for a new home. I don't think there'd be anything bad about that. I was looking at Cam Robinson, but it looks like I'm going to have to spend a whole lot of money to bring him in. With no left guard on the board like Runyon would love to play for us, but again, I just don't know about spending a whole lot of money here. So if I bring in Runyon, I could see myself looking at another left guard here. And the one that I was hoping to be out here, or that is out here, that is big, is Tevin Jenkins. He's looking at about $16 million a year, and with someone like Tevin Jenkins, I think that could solidify our left side quite well there. He does his thing at left guard, and it works out quite a bit. In the center role, the only one that I was potentially looking at was Tyler Beatis. He's 29 years old. He's really interested in playing for us, which is nice. We have a franchise QB. He's excited about that. And Juice Scruggs looks pretty good too. So those are the two guys that I'm looking at to really help out the center position. In the right guard role, there was quite a bit of right guards that I had on my board. I was looking at Will Hernandez as just kind of a one-year fill-in potentially there. Mekhi Becton, he played for the Broncos in this last season. He's only 28 years old. Dude's big, but I think that could really help us out quite a bit to kind of hold that down. I was looking at Will Fries as another option. He wants to play for us, which is nice at 29 years old. I was looking at Osiris Torrance, but the one other guy that was on my list big was 26-year-old Anthony Bradford. 6'5", 345. He's only 26 years old. I think that would help us out quite a bit having a guy like him, man. You know, you're talking about a big dog right there that could work out. So Will Fries and Bradford are my main looks right now. And I think that can really help us out. Right tackle, we do have Illuminor there, but Illuminor is just there for a little bit, and this is where I think I'd like to look at bringing in somebody like right tackle, coming over from the Cleveland Browns, DeJuan Jones. He's only 26 years old, so again, you're talking about building out this O-line to where you can have some guys that can kind of do their thing, and DeJuan Jones is 26 years old. You could probably give him a big extension for like 4 years and allow him to kind of develop and do what he needs to do at that right tackle spot. There really wasn't any of the right tackles I was looking at. That was the only one there, and with Illuminor as a backup, again, we can kind of just work through it. On the D-line there, we're looking at the left end spot, and I was looking at a couple guys. Zach Sealer, I think, could be a nice fill-in for just a year. Get him on the team, let him do what he needs to do, let him play the way he needs to play, and I think that can help us out on the D-line. You bring in a vet like him, he's got good block shed, decent finesse. You're talking about a guy that can just help grow that group. We need some veterans there. Anodike Uzama coming over from the Chiefs. That's just championship mentality there. I wouldn't be upset with bringing him in. I was looking at Will McDonald as well. I think that could be a nice fill-in for us coming over from the Jets, so he just has to change locker rooms, and that would work out there. The defensive tackle spot. There wasn't too many defensive tackles that I was looking at, but the three that I had on my board was the first one here, Brian Bresee. He's the biggest one there, $21 million a year. He's looking at a huge chunk of change. With Dexter Lawrence on the board, I think this is where I'd like to just have another guy here to kind of grow alongside Dexter Lawrence. Aleem McNeil coming over from the Detroit Lions is another big guy. This guy is a thumper. He knows how to freaking create space there, and with this 4-3 concept, I think we can help him help out that D-line really just kind of grow. And then the other one that I was looking at was Gervin Dexter. This guy's more of a speedster, in my opinion, in the line. He's 6'6", 312, but he just plays so freaking sleek and smooth on the inside that at 25 years old, I wouldn't be upset about that. I was looking at Mozzie Smith for a little bit, but again, I don't know how much I can really work out there on that end. As far as right end's concerned, there wasn't too many. I was looking at the veteran Leonard Williams. The reason why is to have him come back to the Giants. I think this guy's a good mentor, can really help us grow there. And it was really sad when Leonard Williams left the New York Football Giants. It was great that we got a second and a fifth for him, but I felt like Leonard Williams is a dog, and we can bring him in for a year and kind of work through it. Linebackers, there wasn't any linebackers on the left side that I wanted. But look at this, Kayvon Thibodeau, there are 18 offers for this guy. They want him, and that's really nice to see. You want a guy, you want players to kind of get paid, and I think that's a good move there. So maybe we could bring back Hoyt as well. Middle linebacker position, we do have Okereke, so we don't really have to fill this spot out. Muasal's behind McFadden, so I think the middle linebacker spot's fine. But the right outside linebacker spot, the player that I was looking at was Matt Milano coming over from the Bills. We do have ties to the Bills, of course, but having this guy here on this team, that could be the spot here where we can have him come in, mentor the right outside linebacker position, and you're talking about just needing him for a year. He's not asking for much, $10 million. I'll take that all day. Corners, I looked at a lot of corners, folks, and the corners that I was looking at were Jair Alexander. Charvarius Ward was another one that I was looking at here. I think he can really help us out. Rasul Douglas is another good veteran, played for the Packers and went to the Bills. I think that's a nice move there. I was looking at Chamari Connor as another potential fill-in there at CB. I think coming over from the Chiefs, he's only 27 years old. Again, it's about building this out. And I was looking at 27-year-old Julius Brents from Kansas State. This is a guy I actually wanted to be drafted by the Giants when he first came into the NFL. The guy does all the right things. His speed is 85, his acceleration is 95, but the guy's got great agility, great change of direction, and his zone coverage works out. So I look at it as like with this new concept there, he can play both man coverage and zone to a decent spot, and I think that could really help us out there. There were not too many other corners outside of that, but so if we do go for it, I think that's the chance to go for the big bang. Free safety and safeties, I didn't really see any free safeties that I was pumped about, but there's quite a bit that want to play for us, and when I see that, I go, man, this is a chance for us to really kind of fill this in. And one player I am looking at is someone like Justin Simmons. He's a 79 overall. He's a mentor. So having someone like Simmons out there alongside someone like Makuba, I think that could be a good fit for us. And he's not asking for a whole lot of money. Strong safety role. We don't really have a lot of strong safeties that I'm really pumped about. With Nubin there, I'm really not worried about it. I think we got Belton for another year potentially, but we could just bring in a younger guy. Someone's got decent speed, decent ability, or we can just bring in another vet like Xavier Woods to just come in and just light people up in a way that, yeah. So Belton is still out there, so we could bring back Belton, who I think we. Yeah. See, so he played for us all 4 years. We just didn't extend him. So I could bring back Belton for a year, kind of work through that and go from there. So those are the different off-season free agents we're looking at. We'll go ahead and work through it, and I will show the results right after this. All right. So now that we have finished the free agency signings that we wanted to do, here are the players that we decided to grab. We went for some good veterans. I went after Matt Milano here, right outside linebacker. He's 33 years old, so he's really here just to kind of fill in for one more year to kind of grow Jackson and Oakman. I think he's got all the stats that kind of scream that he could still do what he needs to do there, but it's good to have some veteranship to kind of plug in some holes there with Kayvon Thibodeau no longer on the team. In the free safety role, we decided to also bring in Justin Simmons here. Makuba's done well, but he's gotten hurt before. So the way I look at it is having someone like Justin Simmons back there to kind of hold it down. Him and Makuba along with Nubin. I think that's a good group of DBs back there to help us out. So I'm hoping that is the right fit for us in that space there. As you can see, you're going to see a lot of theme of bringing in some good vets. This one was kind of a steal. We couldn't get DeJuan Jones. He ended up going to another team. We'll talk through the signings across the league, but 28 years old, Austin Jackson here, to me, is a very good player. Good awareness, good stats across the board. I think he can work out there. We're going to see him in tandem with Illuminor, and I think that's not a bad move at this time. We got to continue to kind of get younger there. I then went after some veteran defensive linemen. Zach Sealer's 31 years old, 77 overall, 6'5", 6'6", 305, 77 finesse, 81 block shed. This guy can still do what he needs to do, and I think getting some veterans on the line are only going to help this team overall. We snagged up Grady Jarrett there, 34 years old. He is an old buck now. Coming over from the Falcons, 81 finesse though, 80 block shed, 85 awareness. The goal is with this 4-3 concept though to kind of plug the holes along that line and just kind of duke it out. I think we could probably move him in to defensive tackle. We took a player from the Eagles here, Tyler Steen. I thought him versus Mekhi Becton. I went for Steen instead, and the reason why is 27 years old, good awareness. Run blocking there isn't there, but pass block on that end is not bad. So the right side has gotten retooled in a good way there. We snagged up a center coming over from the Houston Texans, Juice Scruggs. I thought this was a good move. 76 overall guy, good awareness. Again, the youth is there on the O-line to a certain extent. You got good veterans now covering for Mr. Shedeur Sanders. We then snagged up Kendrick Green here, left guard. I thought, again, this is another guy that can work out. He's a scheme fit, so I think that's going to help out there alongside Andrew Thomas. So that left side also got retooled. So we went kind of big there. We then went after Javon Kinlaw. Not the craziest of signings. We signed him for a 2-year $6 million deal, so three per year. But I thought that was a steal there. You got a DT that we can kind of work through it. The guy's got decent speed. He can kind of fight his way through it. And again, the D-line is getting stronger. We then went after a running back here, 2-year deal for $6 million, $3 million per year in Chase Brown, coming over from the Cincinnati Bengals, winning type of culture, winning type of attitude. So him alongside Tracy Jones, not a bad tandem. We went after Darrell Taylor. I like this guy. He always attacked us. Anytime we went against him, he played on the Seattle Seahawks. He did work. We then brought in Andrew Wiley, another good tackle there to help us out and kind of grow this team here. Good veteran. Again, it's enough to kind of grow these guys there. Brought back a former Giant, Dalvin Tomlinson, one of my favorite Giants that was drafted. He's 33 years old now, and he didn't cost much. 6-year deal, pretty fair there. And we brought in another player here coming over from UDFA, and he ended up getting cut. And the way I look at it is, hey, we do already have Jimmy Horn here. Why not bring in another guy here for Shador? Brought in a mentor for Juice Scruggs and Connor McGovern. And then I snagged in a good left tackle veteran there that can help us out and mentor Andrew Thomas. So very good group. No one's super young. Most of them are kind of here to kind of fill in and help out this group, help this group grow. But I thought that was a good signing. We didn't spend crazy money. And I think with the loss of Kayvon Thibodeau, we were able to fill in some other much needed spaces there. It's not to say that Kayvon Thibodeau doesn't deserve where he needs to go, but in my opinion, it just did not fit. Having him go, we were able to bring in Matt Milano, Justin Simmons, Zach Sealer, Grady Jarrett, Tyler Steen, Juice Scruggs, and Kendrick Green, all under that same amount of money that we were going to spend. So happy about that. As far as across the league, here were the big signings. Quarterbacks, Will Levis is back with the Titans there. Sam Howell is going to the Titans as well. Tanner McKee. So the Titans just said, we're bringing everybody in. That's kind of crazy because Cam Ward, I believe, is the quarterback there. You got Cam Ward's with the Steelers. Sam Leak there. So the halfback, Charbonnet, ends up going to the Vikings. We wish him the best of luck. He didn't cost much, about a little over $4 million a year. Keaton Mitchell going to the Falcons. Wide receivers, this one was tough. I wanted to bring in some other guys, but it looks like Curtis Samuel ends up going to the to the Titans. Tutu is with the Raiders. Luke's with the Bills. Wicks goes to the Raiders. Johnston is going to the Titans, so the Titans are kind of reloading here. MVS is going back to the Chiefs along with Tim Patrick there. Dawson Knox is a Pat. Tyler Higbee a Jet. Big tackle Laremy Tunsil going to the Steelers there. Stanley to the Bills. Cam Robinson to the Commanders. That's not bad. Jedrick Wills. Wow, he's dropped so much. He's going to the Bengals. Left guard, Batonio to the Broncos. Jenkins, he took a big deal. 2-year, $32 million deal. That's really good for him. Wish him the best of luck. Runyon goes to the Browns there on a little bit more than, or close to $9 million on that one for 1 year. A deal. Isaiah Wynn to the Cards. Sighty So to the Bills. Ryan Kelly to the Browns. Drew Dahlman to the Commanders. Viades to the Bengals. Becton Sr. is going to the Cards. Will Fries to the Titans. Osiris Torrance to the Texans there. I think that's a good move. Bradford to the Bills there. Ryan Ramczyk to the Broncos. DeJuan Jones is a Cowboy. Spencer Brown to the Rams. Caleb McGarry to the Texans. Felix and Odike Uzama. Good young player there. 2-year, about a little over $22.5 million to the Steelers. Will McDonald to the Bucks. Milton Williams to the Commanders. Defensive tackle Brian Bresee is going to the Broncos. He took a bag, bro. $64.9 million for 3 years. So a little over $20 million a year going to Denver. Lee McNeil to the Saints. He took a bag too. $59.9 million. That's a nice one. Osa Odigizua, 1-year deal for about $15 million. Irvin Dexter to the Titans. Mozzie Smith to the Panthers. You got Mike Donna to the Dolphins, Leonard Williams going to the Commanders, and Keon White to the Commanders. Wow. Kayvon Thibodeau, he got the bag. 3-year, $73.9 million. He is going to the Denver Broncos, so at least he's leaving our division. Willie Gay to the Panthers, Devin Bush to the Titans, Shaq Thompson to the Steelers, Azeez Al-Shaair to the Seahawks, Devin White to the Cowboys, Isaiah Simmons heading to the Saints, Collins to the Broncos, Jair Alexander, he is going to the Seahawks, Tre'Davious Ward to the Bucks, Tre'Davious White to the Chiefs, Rasul Douglas is a Patriot, Brandon Stevens is a Ram. There's Marcus Williams to the Cowboys, Jair Brown to the Dolphins, Matthew is back to the Saints, GJ going to the Seahawks, Rapp is a Jag, Jordan Whitehead back to the Jets, Antonio Johnson to the Jags. Wow, so pretty good moves here. I like what I'm seeing. I thought we did well there. Now we head to setting up the draft board. So as far as our draft board is concerned, I have a couple different players. I have quite a bit of players, excuse me, at different positions. I'm looking at halfbacks. I'm looking at, first and second level on the defensive side with linebackers and D-line. Looking at the O-line consistently. And to me, I think we got some really good players. Now, here's the thing that we focused on the, in the scouting is trying to find depth in the D-line and not trying to break our bank here. And you got guys that are, ranked in the 3rd and 4th in talent that are considered UDFAs. Alex Thompson and Telvin Radley are projected to be more 3rd and the 4th round, and they're UDFA guys, so we might be able to leverage our picks late in this draft. So I'm pretty happy about that, because when you start looking at deals like this, you might be able to, really go off. And, I'm looking at guys like a right end here who he's projected to be in the 3rd and 4th round, but he's more talented from the 1st and 2nd round aspects. So I'm excited for this because, when you look at our picks right now, we don't have, we do have 7 picks, but they're not all in each round. When you look at where we're at right now, we have the 26th overall pick. So our picks in the 1st, 2nd, don't have a 3rd round pick. We have a 4th rounder. We have a 5th rounder. We have Green Bay's 6th. And then we have 2 7s. We have Houston's 7. So in that 3rd round, there's a chance that some of these players that we want may fall. So we're going to have to reach probably in the 2nd round to grab a guy that I think can really fit us. And then we're going to have to, hope that everything else falls into place. And I think this is where we probably use some chances here to grab some of those UDFAs that are ranked higher in the 5th and 6th round. So we're going to try and we're going to hope that it works out. But I like the guys that we got picked out. With 7 picks there, that will get us to 73 players. And I don't think that's a bad move there for us, right? Before we head to the draft, this is what the team would look like if we didn't draft anybody else. This is what the O-line would look like. And there's quite a bit of new faces here on the O-line, but I think all of this would be okay. Zach Zinter was a player that I had playing at right guard, but I wanted to continue to bring in new pieces, and I think Tyler Steen could really do that. Zinter, he was really, brought in for a cheap deal, and maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't, but I want this O-line to look a whole lot different now. The wide receiver group is going to look pretty much the same. The running back crew now with Chase Brown and Tracy, I think that's going to be a nice combination there. On the defensive side, right, we don't have Kayvon Thibodeau anymore, but I think this is a very solid linebacking core right there with Brian Burns, Okereke, and Milano. I think the D-line also looks pretty clean here. We got a veteran in Sealer, you got Dexter, and then Grady Jarrett, who is a left end. We moved him into the interior, and his OVR increased by a little bit there, and I think that's going to help out. And Darrell Taylor will play when we need him. Kinlaw will play a backup, and so will Dalvin Tomlinson. I think the corners are going to be okay. No changes there. The specialist roles, it's going to be fun. You know, Phillips is going to be playing in that slot there. You got Burns, Lawrence, Oakman's going to get an opportunity to play off the edge there, off these rush packages. Okereke and Milano will play sub linebacker starting initially. So we'll see the 1-2 punch of Tracy and Brown. And Horton, we're going to get him a chance to play in the big slot there. So this is a pretty good group, but you never know now as we enter the NFL draft. You know, this is going to be a big deal here. Could we bring in some pretty good guys? Now, before I go in there was a player that I did scout that didn't go to the draft, to the combine. He was a defensive tackle. And I want to see if he actually showed up there. Let's see what the comp. There it is right there. So he's a round 1 pick, projected to be in the 2nd and 3rd. So, you know, if we want him, we'd probably have to draft him in the 1st round. Maybe he falls to us late in the 2nd, but I'm okay if we move on from that guy. He's an interesting player. From an OVR standpoint, it's not that great, but 21 years old, there's a chance he probably has hidden dev, and that might be a sneaky play there. You know, I really tried to emphasize different components of this scouting to see if we can find a clean one. But you got like a defensive end here, Meeks, who looks really solid. He might be our snag in the 2nd round as a potential find there. McKinney, you know, looking at him in the 2nd round, he looks like that was a guy that has round 1 talent. So maybe we leverage our 1st round pick for a guard. 21 years old there, power, 6'3", 334. That could be the find for us there. So, you know, I think we're looking at some pretty good players. There was a running back that was projected to be in the 1st round or 2nd round. He's a round 1 guy, so maybe you snag him up. 4.42. He's kind of a sneaky pick right there. So, you know, maybe we can find that out. There was a guy here in Joe Barkley that is more of a receiving guy. But, you know, maybe we get the guys here. But this guy right here, day 3 guy, was sneaky. Chance Caldwell, 4.42, ran very well there, 29 reps. When I see stuff like that, along with Byron Randall, 4.45, 29 reps, I think, you know, these are guys we can grab in the later rounds, and that might be helpful for this rounding out of the backfield there. So we got some looks, we got some options. I'm open for the best there. Actually, let's go back real quick here. I want to see what was the last mock. How did they have everyone mocked here heading into this one? So Alan Stoudemire seems to be the consistent top pick across the board. Everyone wants him. Everyone believes in him. So you got Alan Stoudemire, top 5 pick, going to the Browns. You got Darnell Duhan, corner to the Packers. Deontay Monroe to the Pats. Donnell Kidd going to the Saints there. Tayshaun Spears going to the Commanders. Morgan Vaughn to the Seahawks. Will Hendricks dropping to the pick 11 there. They need a tackle, though. I get it. Will Pierce to the Eagles. They're continuing to keep that line strength going there. Eric Woodson to the Bears. That did not look like a great pick. That might be a really bad move. And then they got us going after Justin Flanagan, who isn't a bad player. A center is a need to a certain extent, but we got Scruggs now, so I don't necessarily think we need to snag in Flanagan. So, you know, that's one of those ones where it's best a player available. But look at this, folks. They got Arch Manning going to the Titans. Is that the move, right? He ends up falling in the draft there. You would think he'd be the number 1 overall pick and the end-all be-all, but, you know, where do the Titans fall as far as a QB need? Because they brought in a ton. Will Levis, Sam Howell, they got Max Duggan and Tanner McKee. They brought in a ton of QBs there. So with that being said, you bring in Arch Manning, where does he fall in this mix? You know, that's kind of a mess there. JJ McCarthy's growing here. So you got some really interesting concepts of player, like teams, like who's going to fall. Drew Allar killing it with the Browns. Dante Moore taking over for the Bucks there. 22 years old. Jalen Milroe, fully the guy. Kenneth Murray has fallen off the the wagon there. Gus Nussmeier, he's a Charger. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Will Howard's a Chief. Danny Dimes for Richardson. Okay. And the Commanders didn't pick up a backup there. So there's got to be some issues with cap, right? For some of these teams here. But I'm excited to get to the draft here. Let's see if we can get it done. These videos are not great. So we're going to go ahead and pause it. And we will go ahead and see who are the top picks here so far. Stoudemire is the pick for the Browns. Oh, what is going on there? Everything's all freaking out. So we'll skip again. See what they got there. Packers taking Duhan, CB. So it looks like it's pretty much chalk right now. Broncos taking Morgan Vaughn, defensive tackle. Patriots are going to take Deontay Monroe. And the Saints are going to take Mr. Kidd. So nothing too crazy. So we're just going to go ahead and skip to ours. See what happens here. Oh, pick 8. So Arch Manning does fall. And now we are up. So Will Pierce, Daniel Pollard. No one really doing anything too crazy there. So we're up here at pick number 26. There's some pretty decent players there. You got a strong safety that's on our board. He looks to be available. Not sure if we really need him. We could go after Jason Francois, the halfback that I was talking about. That could be a sneaky move. There was a corner that I thought was really awesome here in Marcus Beeson, 6'4", 189. Fastest corner right there. Dude screams incredible. A-man coverage. He fits what I would like to have. B-zone coverage. Marcus Beeson out of Ohio State looks to be the guy I would like to have here. It's technically like a reach to a certain extent, but the way I look at it is, we need more corners. We want to continue to grow it, and I think that's the move for us. Welcome to the team, Marcus Beeson, pick number 26 of the 2026 draft. It's I think this is fate here for Mr. Beeson. He's a big corner. He can play on the outside. Maybe that gives us the option too to kind of move some pieces around here. But I like what I'm seeing, man. I think this is a good move for us. A+. He was ranked number 6 in true value. Good football IQ, sticky in man coverage, most effective in zone, which fits our new scheme. This is freaking awesome right here. Hidden dev, 94 speed, 93 acceleration. Big play right there, Marcus Beeson. Welcome to the Giants. Woo-wee. I think that's the find right there, folks. We found a dog. And with Stokes, getting a little older, Banks getting a little older, we might see some competition there. I think what I could consider doing is maybe moving Stokes down to slot or something to kind of keep him in the mix, but that's not a bad move there. We'll skip and kind of move on here in this 2027 draft. We are up now. Looks like a lot of players moved around. Doesn't really look like players that I'm super pumped about. Maybe a halfback is who we lost there, but I'm okay with that. And the reason why I'm okay with it is because in my favorites, there was a player that was ranked 1 in talent. And he looks like there's a huge chance he has fallen. So Devin Meeks, he's a right end, which we do need. Devin Meeks is 6'6", 313 pounds out of South Carolina. A block shed, B power move. He's got all the moves right there. Not the fastest, but the dude is 6'6", 313, so he's a big guy. I thought he did pretty well right there. He's projected to be more of a round 1, round 2 talent. But this fits our need because we don't have a 3rd round pick. So there's a chance this guy won't make it back to us. So Devin Meeks is a guy I could consider bringing in. But when you look at maybe the overall picks here, The person that could potentially fall would be somebody like Marion Hayden, which I don't necessarily need at this time because we drafted that corner. You got Chance Ramsey here, who is that big freaking dude. He's 5'11", 225, that is considered an elusive back. We can grab someone like Jamie Dawson here. We could go for someone like Christian Peak, another left end here. But what you want to do is lean on your board and go after guys that are within that range there. As you can see, we got guys, and we can grab these guys, Radley if we really wanted to in the 4th round. We got a couple different sneaky moves here. So I want to lean on the defense. I think our offense is in a decent spot. We picked up some good players in the O-line to get it right. And I think Devin Meeks is the guy here out of South Carolina. Welcome to the team. But Roger Goodell's announcing him here. Maybe we made the right move, but I've seen this storyline in many drafts, and it looks like it's awesome, and then it turns out it's not so much. But I think Ben Johnson might have picked a really good piece here for the New York Giants. We grabbed a good corner. Now we grab a defensive end. We continue to grow. B-. Look at this. True value. 45 in true value. Drafted him at 58. He's going to have hidden dev. 73 speed, 85 acceleration, 86 strength. But with that hidden dev, he's going to grow. And the need was fulfilled. So I'm pretty awesome. I'm pretty happy about that. We don't have a pick until the 4th round. So we're just going to kind of scoop this, get by it, see if we can make it work here. We head to the late part of the 4th round. A lot of players snagged up. Maybe our guy's gone, but that's the whole reason why we snagged up a ton of other pieces there. It was to ensure like we have options. So you got a guy here that's considered day 3 in Carnegie. You got a halfback that I was looking at in Terrell Alexander. You got Trevante Coffee here, who looked like a pretty good player. He's 6'5", 244, a speed guy. 4'5'8" at the College Pro Day, 4'6'2" at the Combine. Pretty strong across the board. Good shuttle. Trevante Coffee could be a player for us here in the 4th round. But again, what do we want to do? We want to lean on our freaking picks here, and this is where we have options. We can go after Alex Thompson, 6'5", 276, who's projected to be a 3rd, 4th rounder. Block shed, not great. He's more finesse and power. But what I like here is that he's kind of a decent athlete here. So we could snag him here in the 4th round. The other player I was looking at was Mr. Telvin Radley. Little smaller guy, 6'4", 241. A power move, a tackle. So when he's on the field, he's designed for one very specific thing. Not going to be strong. He's going to be an athlete. So his strength is poor. Do we snag him here in the 4th round and move on? Or do we go and test and take a chance or gamble on someone else? So that's what I'm looking at right now. I don't think there's anything wrong with these pieces. We could grab, like I said, a halfback that we really wanted in this space and kind of are okay with. Byron Randall, 4'5", and he was strong as heck. He's going to do what you need to do. He's more of a north-south runner. And we don't really have that on the team, right? We got Chase Brown, we got Tyrone Tracy, but maybe we go for a 3-headed monster and we draft someone like Byron Randall here. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He could really maybe surprise us. And like I said, we could leverage that 5th round pick or maybe our later round picks to grab those other 2 guys there. And I think that's what we're going to do. He's 22 years old, out of Michigan. He's a little bit of a bowling ball, but I like this move here. Welcome to the team, Byron Randall. 101 in true value. Drafted him at 122. Plows through early arm tackles, not afraid of contact, shifty in open field. Norm dev, but look at that. 90 speed, man. We'll take that for this big man, and I'm pretty happy about that. So, like to see what we got there. Like I said, we don't necessarily have to draft immediately those pieces. We might be able to get a cheaper contract here and snag up some guys in the later rounds. And maybe other people will see that talent, but maybe they won't. And that's where I'd like to take a chance on it. So those 2 guys are still there. And this is where I go, you know what? Let's go ahead and use our 5th and 6th round pick for those guys. be happy about it, not be upset about it, and kind of roll with it. So with our first pick here, I think I'd like to take Alex Thomas. He's more of an athlete, kind of fits with what we want, and I'm happy about that there. Roger Goodell's at the podium announcing it. Is this a good pick for the Giants? Did we make the right moves? Did we make the right decision here? Ben Johnson taking a round of applause again. Maybe we made it work here. Hoping we snag the right guy. 104 in true talent, in true value. Drafted him at 154. Can be invisible in a run game. But for me, it's not so much as leveraging. It's really leveraging him for the pass situation there. 78 speed, 85 in acceleration, 87 strength. Not bad right there. Can't be upset about it. We continue to move on there. We're going to go ahead and head to the 6th round here. And looks like we had an early 6th round pick. This came over from, I believe, Houston or something like that. So let's see what we got here. Do we still got our guy? It looks like we do. So we snag up the other end here. Telvin Radley. He's a little bit of a bowling ball, but the power move, I think, can really fit us out here. 105 in true value. Drafted him at 162. Look at this. Struggles to get off the blocks in the run game. So we're going to leverage him mainly for the pass rush scheme. Ability to win using power move. Will need to hit the weight room. So he's smaller, but he's got the hidden dev, folks. Big deal right there for the Giants. Finding these gems here is super important for the lifeline and the longevity of a dynasty here. So I'm happy about that. We have 2 7th round picks, and this is where we can again try to find some pieces here, see what stands out, see what works out. There are some players here that continue to fall, and as you can see right there isn't too many others. We got 2 guys here that were left ends and right ends that we can snag at this time. There was a right tackle that I was looking at here in the 7th round. He had 8 impact block. The dude was an athlete, and I don't think there's anything wrong with snagging someone like that. Coming out of Oregon here, you know, maybe he works out for us, maybe he doesn't. C+, draft, true value 205, drafted him at 207. I think this is good for us. 86 strength, that's not a bad start right there for him. 73 speed, 77 acceleration. That gives us an opportunity there to, again, it's growing this D-line. You never stop drafting freaking O-line. 1 more pick left for us, and I think this is where, again, we try to figure out, right, what do we need? How do we make it work? And you got 2 left ends here. There was another guy that was pretty interesting, and Joe Barkley. He's a UDFA, 4.43. Guy jumped out of the freaking room. Good agility there. We got players like Montrell Johnson on the team. You got Tank Bigsby on the team. You know, do we just revamp it and just kind of bring these guys on and see what happens there? Or do we maybe snag him up in the UDFA situation? I think when it comes down to it, you want to find pieces here that we can continue to develop this group. And, you know, I'm not sure if these D linemen that we got that are considered day 3 are really it. Now, here's the thing. This guy right here screams a freak. 6'3", not really a freak. 6'3", 280. 4'7", is still pretty good for his size. Coming out of Colorado, he had a 33-inch vert, so he's got the crazy acceleration. And he was decently strong. So when I see things like that, I'm like, man, do we really have to worry about it? But I think there's nothing wrong with, again, we talked about the O-line. You draft the O-line. This guy was super strong, decent athlete. He's probably not going to be that great, but 6'6", 340 out of Utah. You grab players like this, you put them on the practice squad, you let them develop, and you make it work there. So we're going to take this last guy here. As much as I wanted the left end, we drafted enough defense. So let's go ahead and grab some O-linemen here in the late round. And let's see how we can make it work right there. Crowd's loving it. Glad we snagged up a guy right there. There's a chance that those UDFAs are going to be available. 225 in True Value, drafted him at 218. Former high school power forward, excellent run blocker. Mental lapses are too frequent. So, you know, he'll grow, but you can't teach size. And I'm happy about that. So we're going to go ahead and end the 2027 draft. We got 2 players remaining there, but I think that was a incredible freaking draft for the New York Football Giants. So let's check this out here. There's our big move right there, folks. Marcus Beeson is the freak. 6'4", 189 out of Ohio State. He has got 94 speed, 96 acceleration, but the 81 man coverage, 74 zone. This guy is going to help us out quite a bit. We're going to keep growing this guy, getting him in the right spot. But boy, oh boy, is this guy going to be ready to roll, man. We got everything we need here. We just got to win now. Hoping for the best there. Let's check out what his apparel looks like. I like to get him looking good here, man. You always want to try to get some good looks for these guys. And the headgear, I mean, it looks all right. I'd like to try something. Ugh, that's disgusting looking. We want to always, ooh, it's all right. I don't like that face mask, dude. That one's a little bit better. We'll do that. Do they got the visor? Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, that's a sick visor. So we'll get them that way. So 77 overall. We found a stud right there. Went after Meeks. Meeks is also a hidden dev. 6'6", 313. Hope that he kind of works through it. He's still got the 80 block shed is huge, but man, why does he look weird? Is it the shoulder pads or something? He looks really strange right there. Maybe it's his arms. Maybe he's got like extremely long arms or something. Yeah, maybe let's get some, I don't know, let's do that. Let's get that right there. Check out the other arm. Let's just do the red there. Yeah, I think this guy is just lanky, dude. But maybe he grows in and works through it. We then snagged up a running back here in the 4th round, Byron Randall, 5'11". Pretty much the Charbonnet that we're looking for. Replacement. We got him for a cheap deal. 4th round pick. How can you be upset about that? You're talking about a guy here out of Michigan that could really shock the world here, and maybe he ends up being the dog that we want. So 5'11", 220, he's built like a freaking dog here. Then we snagged up Alex Thompson here, 70 overall, 5th round pick. This guy right here, I think he's going to have a decent opportunity to start. We got a lot of vets on the team, so we'll see a lot of these youngins playing in this preseason. We then signed up another 70 overall, Telvin Radley at right end, hidden dev. He's smaller, 77 power move, but there's a chance that we can grow this guy, and maybe he does some work right there on the outside. Have him play some rush packages and stuff, and I think that can work out there. We got a 66 overall right tackle here in Bryce Cooper. Dude's got a big old noggin, but you know, we'll grow him out, and I think that could work out there out at right tackle. And then we snagged a left guard here, 65 overall, not the greatest of attributes, but he's big, 6'6", 340, 90 strength, 88 lead block. We can kind of lean on this guy to kind of do his work and help with the run game further down the road. Now, before we check out the overall, let's see what our division did. They snagged up a 76 overall player here, the strong safety DeMarcus Jenkins out of Louisville. Dude's got pretty good attributes. He's a big guy, man. We got to be careful of that. That dude played in the 3rd level there. They went after a quarterback in Rick Weber. They reached for it. 68 overall in that, what was that 2nd round there? That is not good, but when you need a QB, you got to try, right? They found a left guard here, 72 overall out of Ohio State, in Von Johnson. That's not a bad move right there. You let him grow. Cowboys have to work backwards, though. Their cap was killer. Now, the Commanders, they were early picks. They snagged up a 77 overall, and Tayshaun Spears, the corner, but he ends up not having a dev. Good zone. He would have been a scheme fit for us, but that's not a bad move right there. And they drafted in pick 6. And they went after a center. This was the center. This is not a bad player there. Tommy Sutherland. He's going to have norm dev, but that's a good starting point right there as far as the overall is concerned. And then they found, it looks like, a right outside linebacker in the late round, hidden dev. Good speed on him out of LSU. And LSU's got some good defensive players too, so you can't really be too upset. They found him in the 4th round. So not too bad right there for the Commanders. What did the Eagles do? They always draft well. They went after a left tackle here out of Michigan State, Will Pierce. He's going to be doing work, growing behind Mailata. Can't complain about that. You found a dog there. You're talking about halfback right there behind Saquon Barkley and Will Shipley. Jason Francois out of Arizona State, 5'9", 196. Ended up falling to him. I think Francois might have been the guy I was looking at in the 1st round, but I just didn't think it was needed there. They found a 70 overall middle linebacker, LeAngelo Sermon out of South Carolina. That dude's gonna. Eagles always have really good defense, so can't complain about that. They found a 4th rounder corner, Philip Albert, 69 overall out of Wisconsin. So they found their corner. We had our corner, they found theirs. I think our corner is better. So pretty good group, all in all. From an overall standpoint, you know, let's see from across the league who found the best player out there. And it looks like it was Arch Manning. He's going to be the starter for the Tennessee Titans there. Darnell Duhan going to the Packers. He got snagged up number 2 overall pick. And Jair is gone, so they bring in a new cat. And they bring in Donnell Kidd, another corner there, top 5 pick. He's probably going to have hidden dev out of Iowa State. Yeah, he's kind of a freak. Holy hell. And then right behind them, folks, was us. We found our guy, and that was Mr. Marcus Beeson out of Ohio State, 77 overall. We found him in the late round, so I'm pumped about it. I think we got the right crew. As far as overalls are concerned, look at this, though. Chance Ramsey was a guy on my list, 23 years old out of Oklahoma. The dude was drafted in the 3rd round, 77 overall. You got a 4th rounder, Tyson McAllister of LSU, 76 overall. Right outside linebacker, Dwayne Reed gets picked up right there. You got some finds around the league. Panthers find Malik Buchanan in the 3rd round at 75 overall. 4th rounder, Chance Caldwell. You got some pretty good players getting snagged up. So nice to see just kind of the movement across the board there and people finding some good players. So like what I'm seeing right now. We're going to go ahead and, set our team up, make those adjustments. Now you got to remember here, right? Here's what our team is set up to be scheming. I got to make new playbooks in this space here now, because our scheme, folks, is going to be a multiple zone run with a 4-3 cover 3. We're going to be using Cincinnati's offensive playbook, which is all shotgun, couple single back formations, but it's designed to kind of leverage both zone and power runs. So we're going to kind of get that going there. And then we're going to the defense for San Francisco, which is a good mix. Base 4-3. We got a 5-2 in there. We got some 4-3s, some nickels, some dime concepts in there. So you're going to see a lot of different looks coming from this new Giants setup here. Like I said, man, I think we got a really good team. These rookies, the whole point of drafting rookies isn't to have them all play. You want some of them to play for sure, right? You put the capital on them. You would like to see them kind of play, but you don't have to. And that's my hope there, is that we don't have to leverage these guys from the rip. I want to see these guys playing. but I don't necessarily have to have them kind of start immediately. We got a lot of players on the board right now for a couple different positions. So we're going to see a chance for some competition, and maybe these guys end up doing it. Maybe they don't. But, you know, I'd like to try them out in the preseason. That's going to be the fun part, kind of seeing who is going to step up across the board there. Who's going to actually, you know, surprise some of these pieces here, and maybe someone will take over. I don't know if we're gonna see that much of a shock here, but you know, I'm just happy that we have a lot of opportunity here. We got a lot of players and a lot of O linemen now, so I'm not worried about that. It's really the D line. I'd love to get in a good spot there. That's the hope right now. Get the D line in a good spot, and hopefully we'll see these guys kind of eat, man, and you know, we'll see the competition out there, and I hope, like I said, my hope is that these guys really find a spot to really get a chance to play. That's what I'm hoping right now. Can they appear during the preseason? You know, that's my goal here, is to kind of play it out and see who's going to shock us at this point here, who's going to be the team, be the player that really makes it work for us. And I think the corner situation is going to be fun, because now we get a chance to see some of these guys play, and there is a huge chance, folks, that Marcus Beeson is just going to be behind these guys. When it's time for him to step up, he'll be there. So I'm excited for this team. I'm excited for how it's all going to work out. We just got to continue to keep building this thing, and hopefully, just hopefully, we'll get back to the Super Bowl. We fell short last season, but I have faith that we'll get back there. But that'll do it for us today, everybody. If you like what you saw, please drop a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, and most importantly, subscribe to keep up with the series. I really appreciate it that everyone that stopped by today. Have yourself a good one, and as always, let's go Big Blue.